actually face the candidate of the SDP. What will be your economic plan to ensure that Nigeria is not...
It's all about productivity. We have a dismal productive base as a nation. We like to style ourselves as the largest economy on the continent at 400 billion with a population of 200 million. But just take South Africa, $375 billion economy with 57 million people. So it's all about productivity. There are principally four things you do to enhance the productivity of an individual. Skill-based, not just education. It's no longer, education is not as it was before, literacy. No, it has to be functional, it has to be skilled. Health, requisite infrastructure, and in the modern world, and you mentioned it, artificial intelligence, you must embrace tech. I want to say this. All these sound good. You can do all these things. You can talk about property rights and innovation, as Mr. Moghalu said, but they come to nothing if access to capital is dismal. And that's what the problem in Nigeria. Affordability and access to capital is very low in Nigeria. And I'm intrigued that Mr. Moghalu said this, because for a couple of years he was Deputy Governor of Central Bank. And he was in charge of financial institutions. Under his supervision, interest rates in Nigeria were hovering between 25 and 30%.
Please raise your mic so that we can hear you.
Interest rates in Nigeria were hovering between 25 and 30%. You cannot grow a country where 80% of the population are dependent on the goodwill of maybe 20% on expensive capital. It's unheard of. In some countries of the world, developed nations, interest rate is almost zero because you want people to go out there, lend money, borrow money, and enhance their businesses. But here we are. We raise the bar so high that the preponderance of us cannot access capital at all.
Right, thank you very much. Candidate of the Abundance is the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Mr. Donald Duke. Well, infrastructure is a major problem. TCN, some say that's the transmission company of Nigeria that's in the power chain. Some say is the weakest link. Gencos have threatened to shut down power plants all across the country. Rail is not exactly where it should be. Roads is still in bad shape. How will you fix the infrastructure problem, considering the fact that Nigeria hardly has the money for it?
Let me take just one of the infrastructure that bothers us more than all the others: power. We're still running our power sector largely as we ran it pre-independence, Electricity Corporation of Nigeria, where we largely, one broad organization generates, transmits, and distributes. Even though the sector has been broken down here and there, it's still largely the same concept. It is true that there are a multiplicity of power, solar, gas, and all that. But take a nation that flares, until recently we were flaring about 2.5 billion cubic feet of gas daily. We've done this for over 40 years. And 2.5 billion cubic feet of gas is approximately 25 million liters of diesel. Nigeria was flaring this daily for well over 30 years. You think of a nation where the gas is captured, right, piped and transmitted throughout the length and breadth of this country, so that generation is localized. My philosophy is this: anything that is essential must be local. You cannot generate power from Lagos, Egbe Power Station, for instance, to supply Abuja. You need to localize efficiencies. Now, if you were able, and you can do this in 30 months, collect all the gas that you're currently flaring, pipe them throughout the length and breadth of this nation, localized generation, you would increase power generation astronomically. Take a city like Kano. Kano used to be the second largest industrial zone after Lagos. Kano is literally dead economically. There's no power source there. Why don't we have gas in Kano? Even Abuja doesn't have gas. So we have failed in that respect, trying to use the same traditional methods. No. Power is essential as water is today in modern living. So you've got to find other ways of generating power to make it available to all. Like I said, what is essential must be local.
Thank you very much. All these for Mr. Donald Duke. A lot of people say We don't even know how many Nigerians there are. We don't know who is a Nigerian and who is a non-Nigerian. So how do you get it right if you don't get it right at that level?
The last census in Nigeria was 2006. We don't know our numbers. We are just approximating. Even the 200 million we mentioned is an approximate. We need to know the numbers. We need to have the data. We need to have a national ID card that has all the data of an individual, that has your individual data. It will help for crime. It will help for job creation. It has to be compulsory. You need a society, a modern living today, where you cannot function except you have some form of identification. So you cannot do banking, you cannot send your children to schools, you are not eligible to the NHS, the National Health Insurance Scheme, except, so it's almost compulsory. You gather the data. Now, the NBS is a disaster. For anyone to say that unemployment in Nigeria, and that's their current statistic, is about 15%, is living in la-la land. Unemployment in this country, between unemployment and underemployment, you're looking at about 70%. And that's why I said earlier on that 70 to 80% depend on 20% of the population.
All right, thank you very much to Mr. Tokwe Fasua. Okay, to the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, please. I guess you have 1 minute to explain what you will do. Will basic education be your focus, or will you start from the top like Mr. Kingsley Moghalu?
Let me not talk about what I will do. Let me talk about what I did as governor. We gave teachers tax breaks in Cross River State. We gave them urban allowances that literally doubled their salaries and the rural areas. So we made it attractive for teachers to teach in the rural areas. We came up with a policy of not having more than 30 students in a classroom for secondary, 3 arms to a class, 6 classes, which is 540 students in a school, and not more than 20 in a primary school, 6 classes, 300 students. You need to have 2 teachers teaching a course, right? Because you have a policy of no one being left behind. But before you go into that, we need to look at our curriculum again. Our curriculum is outdated. The policy of having 2 teachers, no one being left behind, ensures that the weaker students catch up, especially tutor, because there's nothing like a poor student. You have poor teachers. Now, going further, you must ensure that teacher progression is tied onto student performance.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, so when you become president, if you become president, what will be the most important things that you would tackle?
Well, you need to bring efficiency into governance. It's critical. Now, part of this has to do with, you talked about subsidy earlier on. This is a nation imports petroleum products at a certain price and sells it at half the price. You wouldn't do that in your own business. I do agree that there is a need to cushion the lifestyle and livelihood of Nigerians. But you're flaring gas. And the same gas you flare, you sell locally at international price. But you import petroleum products from international markets and subsidize it locally. It just doesn't make sense. We spend more on subsidizing petroleum products and education. We spend about 20% of our budget on subsidies for folks to drive on cars that on roads that do not exist. So common sense in governance is the basic thing. The quality of people you bring into governance, the leadership of the various ministries and parastatals is important. A clear vision of where you want to take the country to is critical. Okay. But above all, the will to make it happen. All right, thank you very much. So the candidate of the Young SDP. I like the passion of my colleagues here on the stage, but talk is cheap. I know they mean well. I really know, and I respect that. But it's more than that. It's not how well you mean. And it's not your intentions, it's your ability. I have that ability, it's proven. And I said this is an unfortunate stage because I'm the only one here who has governed. Indeed, of all the aspirants or candidates running for president, besides Muhammadu Buhari, I'm the only one who has governed, and I have a track record to prove. You need to create a nation where we are all stakeholders. All our problems, security, insecurity, corruption, they're all symptoms of a deeper problem. As symptoms of a poverty level that makes you feel that you're not a stakeholder in your nation, so you're ready to bring the roof down, right? We need to tackle the indices of poverty head on to ensure that all the symptoms that we see are cleared.
Thank you very much.